go. When you had the answer and you were there alone, you left the door unopened when you knew that you would want more. Give it up, give it up, give it away while you were barely aware. You learned that day, cut off so much, hardly remained. While you knew that there was still a way. This is your only plan. Oh, now this is your only. Now this is your only plan. Oh, now this is yours. And you're right. You force it to yield. You forge it to the lines. You let your callous be your shield, and everyone will say that it all was finished years ago, but you will stay, and you won't ever let it go. When you had the answer and you were there alone, you left the door unopened when you knew that you would want more. Then again you found the answer and you were there alone. You left the door unopened when you knew that you would want more. When you had the answer and you were there alone, you left the door unopened when you knew that you would want more. Then again you found the answer and you were there alone. You left the door unopened when you knew that you would want more. Well, I've been waiting for all these years just to see you come back home. But each step that you took towards her, well, you took each one alone. And every time you said, my God, how is it up there on that throne? Well, I've been waiting on your feet just to hear you say that I'm not needed. I said I was an honest man. You said I wasn't at all, but I wanted it. Well, I think you're just afraid of the fall, but you won't be there at all. No, you won't be there. And oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. My God, I hope you're falling and you. Oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. It's gonna be the start of what you are. Well, I remember when you said that you hate everything I do. You didn't have a reason, then wish I'd given one to you. And then you would say, oh, my God, I couldn't know what you've been through. Well, I've been waiting on your feet just to hear you say that I'm not needed. I said I was an honest man. You said I wasn't at all, but I wanted it. Well, I think you're just afraid of the fall, but you won't be there at all, or you won't be there. And oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. My God, I hope you're falling and you. Oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. It's gonna be the start of what you are. I said I was an honest man. You said I wasn't at all, but I wanted it. Well, I think you're just afraid of the fall, but you won't be there at all, or you won't be there. And oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. My God, I hope you're falling and you. Oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. It's gonna be the start of what you. Oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. My God, I hope you're falling and you. Oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. It's gonna be the start of what you are.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say good evening. Welcome to ZADs Galaxy Tour Season 8. This is round 3 of Season 8, and we are at the beautiful and newly added to the game, Watkins Glen. one of the best circuits in all of the US, and I know it pains me to say that because my favorite circuit in the US is Road America, but I have to say Watkins Glen is one of the best. Absolutely beautiful circuit, very flowing and technical at times, but also fast. One of the truly great American circuits, and I'm so glad to be able to bring you coverage of Zealous Racing League's race on this track tonight. Or should I say races on this track tonight? That is right. We have a doubleheader tonight at Watkins Glen, a 20-minute race and a 40-minute race. Both of them are going to have a required pit stop in the race. That's going to be for fuel, and tires are optional, but that should really lead to some very interesting strategies for this race on how our drivers are going to be able to taking that. Are they going to do a splash and dash, or are they going to try to fill up with a little bit more fuel and maybe get better tires? I think the strategies will definitely be a little bit more interesting in that 40-minute race, as the 20-minute race is mostly going to be a sprint, I would see. Other than that one splash of fuel, maybe a liter of fuel for the pit stop. But for that 40-minute race, there's going to be a lot of great strategies tonight from our drivers. I hope. There's going to be a lot of different strategies, I can imagine. Staying alive lap one is obviously paramount, and what Zealous does try to provide is clean, safe racing for all of our drivers. Even though this is online, esports racing, we do our best to keep it clean here, make it gentleman's racing, and make sure that we are just providing the best experience possible for our drivers. So, um, if you haven't followed us already, if you're new to this stream, be sure to follow us on social media. We have links to our Twitter and Facebook on the Facebook page, or on our YouTube page, I should say. And we also have a link to our Discord. So if you're interested in getting involved in our Zealous Racing community, be sure to drop in on that Discord and, you know, give us a hi, and we'd love to race with you. So we've got some free practice here to start off the night, just to see what our drivers have in them. We usually do 30 minutes of free practice to start, and make sure our server is all up and running. But then after that, we'll start our qualifying session. We will have 2 qualifying sessions for both of these races as well. So that will basically reset the whole order for that second race. But like I said, our drivers are just out there for about 10 more minutes, going to be just trying to get a feel for the circuit conditions today. Free practice is on a Friday, and then the race 1, and the qualifying. So the qualifying is going to be tomorrow, or on the Saturday of the weekend. And then race 2 will be on the Sunday of the weekend. And another thing to note is we have not seen rain yet in this season of Zealous Racing League ZAD Galaxy Tour. We usually have a, Candido, the guy I'm watching, just getting a little bit squirrely there. But usually we have a mercy rule for 2 rain events in one season. And so far, we have yet to see any rain events at all this season. We have been at Spa-Francorchamps, our first round, and Mount Panorama, Bathurst. We have yet to see rain in any of it. So that is still in play for these races today. We'll have to see what the system will throw at us. We do have some random chance in there for whether we're going to be seeing rain or not. So none of us know if rain's going to be possible, but it's something to watch out for. So far in the server, we have 25 drivers, another great showing for today's race. Right now, we're watching Matthias Tudda. And I think I was racing with him in a low fuel motorsports race just this past week. He was much faster than I was. But yeah, I saw the name Tudda, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the Tudda, same Tudda that's racing in ZRL this year, or this season, I should say. Looking at our times too, it looks like our current championship leader, which is Kenneth Portis, not setting the fastest laps right now, which gotta say, KP, Kenneth Portis, has won the last 2 races, so wouldn't mind to see a new winner here tonight. But I also want to see him to have some good battles with somebody. If he gets this win, I want to see him earn it. I want to see him battling up there in the front. But right now, our fastest driver on track is Kevin Racine, who is a relatively new driver to ZRL. He participated in our mini ZAD Duro that we had about a month ago now. This is his first showing in our Season 8. Was unable to make the last couple sessions. But Kevin Racine in that Bentley setting our fastest lap in practice. We've got Chenkai Zhang, who is currently in P3, I believe, in the standings for the league. And I can actually just check on that real quick to give you all the standings. Currently, he's actually running 4th after a bit of a rough showing at Bathurst. Had a little incident going down the hill, as most people who've raced at Bathurst probably have had sometime in their racing career, an incident down the hill. But Zhang, who's a quite rapid driver, currently running P4 in our standings and is setting some pretty fast laps out there, 2nd on our practice standings. KP, Kenneth Portis, just set a even faster lap there, putting himself into P3 for the pre-practice. As I mentioned, Matthias Tada, P4 in our practices. We got Matthew Reed, long-standing ZRL racer in that Lamborghini, P5. Justin Friesen, the guy I'm supposed to be giving a hard time every single week in the Knucklehead Racing Ferrari. He's running P6. I know he's been practicing this track quite a lot. And right now he's running laps within the low 46s. I think he will be able to get into the 45s with a good qualifying run. He showed me his fastest lap the other day, and I think if the conditions are just right, which they look pretty good for it now, I'm guessing he could dip down into the 45s for a lap in qualifying. We have Simon Bowdry, another longtime racer for ZRL in the Aston Martin. Jeremy Story in McLaren 720S. Melon Pitch in that Nissan GTR. That Nissan Nismo in that beautiful livery, I might say. Let's get a nice look at that livery here. Maybe get a little bit of a chase cam there with some dinosaurs and the whole 9 yards on that car right there. We've got Todd Cromer running in the Porsche. Matt Fender, who's running in the Audi. Fabiano Candido running in the Bentley this year. Ricky Scott, another McLaren driver. Jimmy Olsen in one of the Audis. Chris Rise driving in another Audi. Andre Afonso in another Porsche. Glenn Pino, I think our sole Mercedes driver this season. But I gotta say, he's feeling really comfortable in that car. I've talked to Glenn. He seems to be liking this car quite a bit. Very stable for him. And I was able to actually practice the this car, this Mercedes AMG, on this track in particular. And I think this is a fairly strong track for that car. At least it feels really good to drive. We're practicing for an event that's coming up this weekend, actually, that I'll shout out. We have a 6-hour endurance racing event that we are co-hosting, that Zealous is co-hosting with ARC, Apollo Racing, and Delta Racing. And that'll be happening on Saturday this week. So if you're interested, please tune into that. But we were going to be running that with Glenn, me, and actually Justin Friesen up there, Slim Friesen. We're hoping to run that event, but due to some circumstances, we weren't able to. We did get some practice in, and I gotta say, I think we would have been fairly competitive in that Mercedes AMG. Felt really good. Michael Santello, Ferrari driver this year. I got a couple Ferraris on the grid. We have Pedro A. I spoke too soon. We do have another Mercedes driver. Pedro is also running in the Mercedes this season. Calvin Wolf, one of our ZRL admins, in that McLaren Thygo Azevedo. I'm gonna make sure I say these right. He is racing in the BMW M4. JP Bellinger racing in the McLaren. Nicholas Wide in the Audi. Christopher Flores running in the McLaren 720S. Sean Dudzik in the BMW M4. Zach Hickman, another BMW driver. Make sure I get everyone here. We got JP Bellinger. I think I got him. Not sure. But let's see if I missed anyone here. Anthony Camacho. I don't believe I've mentioned Anthony here. Running in the BMW M4. Gotta say, I really do love that M4. It's a good-looking car in my opinion. Some people don't like the buck tooth, but I enjoy it. I think it's really fun to drive. I think it's really stable. Very much enjoy that. Making sure I get everyone here. Looks like I do have everyone that's currently in the chat. Had somebody join here. Kevin Yu in the McLaren. Got 28 drivers now, so the pack is filling up as we are a minute and 30 seconds away from our qualifying session. And currently Kevin Racine out there is still setting the fastest lap. I know Kenneth Portis is out there trying to set an even faster lap as he goes through the toe. Coming up the toe into that boot. Up the hill. Some great angles of cameras here for the broadcasters. Kind of down that hill. Something that I noticed while just doing this this viewing here, there's a lot more elevation change in those corners as you go through the heel in that back section. There's a lot more elevation change than maybe seems apparent when you're driving the car as you kind of go up that hill of the boot, down the hill into the braking zone. Didn't even realize that was down the hill when I'm racing most of the time. And then coming back up the hill to go into that last little section of the track before the start-finish line. Looks like we had a couple drivers drop off, maybe some connection things, but hopefully they'll come back here soon. But we are 20 seconds away from the start of qualifying for round three of season 8 of the ZADs Galaxy Tour. I am so incredibly excited for this race. This track, like I had mentioned, it's truly beautiful. One of the best tracks out there in the United States. And there we go. Practice is over. People should be coming in here shortly. We've got a few drivers that are still out there. Camacho is going to be coming in here soon. The 95 car of Kevin Yu is going to be coming in here soon. But as we just wait for them, if you're in the chat, please be sure to give a shout out in chat for your favorite driver. I know in the past we've had a lot of support for drivers such as Chris Rise and Justin Friesen, or Slim as some of his friends call him. Who is out first? We have the 411 car, Melon Pitch in the Nissan. He's out first. Getting out there, want to make sure he can set some fast laps. And what we'll do, once Pitch makes his way around, since he is the first guy out, we are going to make sure to follow him on the first lap. So we can give you a bit of a track tour as he does his qualifying session, or does his qualifying lap. With this being a new track as well, some of these drivers might not be as familiar with it. This track has only been out with for about maybe 3 weeks or so, and correct me if I'm wrong, 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's easily become a favorite within the community of ACC, and really, I know this came out in Gran Turismo 7 not too long before the American Track Pack, and in Gran Turismo 7, it became a favorite track of drivers as well. So I think this track is really getting a lot of love now, a lot of attention from sim racers just because of all the new recent releases. And I gotta say, this rendition in ACC is absolutely spectacular. just a beautiful job by Kunos at rendering this track. The laser scanning, this is probably the best version of the track that's out there. Not to discredit any other versions, but this track is truly beautiful and is truly well done. So let's go into the cockpit of that Nissan as we go on the front straight here, going until you hit that first board, braking into third gear. Want to go as wide as you possibly can onto the curbs. I think he maybe gone a little bit wide there, but the track limits are pretty, they are pretty forgiving there as he goes up the S's, up the hill, kind of a replica light spa, blind up the hill, going down the back straight as we go towards the bus stop chicane here, braking, trying to cut the corner a little bit. Got to keep two wheels on that corner at all times as you go into the loop. This is a tough corner because you want to make sure to keep the speed as much as possible. Going down into the chute, tricky braking zone. You can easily lose the car here if you're not careful. Trying to accelerate as early as possible as always as you go braking uphill into the heel, or I should say the toe of the boot. Going up another short little straight here into the boot itself. Got some love out there for Kevin Racine. Braking, shifting down, trying to get, again, as wide as you possibly can as you go downhill, getting a little bit squirrely. Braking up the hill at that last billboard. Want to make sure to get in second gear and be careful on this because if you're on the gas too early, you will lose the car. And you brake there. Maybe not even downshifting. Looks like Pitch is deciding not to. Braking here and downshifting as you go onto the front straight of the track. And that is a lap completed at Watkins Glen. Looks like that lap was valid. Sets a 47.4. He's going to wish for something faster. I know that for a fact. Maybe a little bit too squirrely there as we follow some of our other drivers. Matthew Reed is the next to come across here. Reed is going to be setting a 46.5 behind him. Some other drivers, the 444 of Bellinger. Let's see if he can respond. Now, usually we do 15 minutes. Usually we do 15-minute qualifying sessions, but with there being two races, we're only doing 10-minute qualifying sessions for today's race. So drivers have a limited amount of time to get those laps in. Currently, Tada just set the fastest lap as a 45.9. Behind him is Reed in that Lamborghini. Our drivers are coming across here. So we watch Tada go up the S's. Nobody's been able to respond to that just yet, as we'll move to Justin Friesen as he sets his fast lap here. See what he's got. Looks like it is a 46.8. He's going to try for another. He knows he can go faster. I know he can go faster. Probably just warming the tires a little bit, but maybe we won't give him the benefit of the doubt and say he just goofed that one up. Just so you know, like Justin is one of my good friends in sim racing, was one of the first guys that really helped me get into sim racing, and he's given me express permission to make fun of him during these races, so I'm going to take advantage of those circumstances where I can do that. Got some support out there from Aero Veloce for Cromer and Pino, some drivers that I've raced a little bit with in the past. Kevin Racine just set his fast lap of a 44.6. That is currently the fastest lap on the track right now. Zhang getting awfully close, though, with a 44.7 in that Ferrari. And they are right back in, like, back to back from each other, too. So they are right next to each other, matching pace. I wonder if Zhang made sure to get behind Racine so he could maybe follow him a little bit, learn a little bit about what Racine's doing to gain a bit more time. And Kenneth Portis in that Honda NSX, a half a second behind Racine with a 45.2. He is currently sitting P3. Oh, Zhang, a little bit squirrely there on the outer loop. Things are coming to a close here. Drivers probably only have maybe 1 or 2 more laps left. Let's watch some of our other drivers. Pino in the pits right now. Justin Friesen going on another fast lap. Let's go back here and let's watch Ricky Scott, a newer driver to the Zealous Racing League community, as he goes up the toe as he's passing Rise. Rise has yet to set a fast lap of... Oh, nope. Rise has already set his fast lap. Maybe he messed that lap up. Just looking for another clean one, clean go at it. A great shot there as they go get out of the boot into the heel. Going up the hill. Let's just watch Scott finish up his lap here. As we look at some of our times, looks like nobody's been able to set a faster lap as Scott comes into the penultimate corner. Down the front stretch. See if Scott can do one better on his last lap. And it looks like he will, setting a 46.9. 1:46.9. We've got 2 minutes left of our qualifying session. Let's go to another driver out there, Anthony Camacho. Let's watch him. Getting very squirrely there. That is a tricky corner. That is a common mistake that I see a lot of people making. Being on the gas a little bit too early coming out of that turn. Since it's uphill, your car is it doesn't have as much weight on it. It's slow. You're going uphill. Your car can easily get loose going on that turn. So you really have to watch out to not lose all your traction. You have to be very careful. Some of my runs I've done on that, I've had to actually shift into third gear, which is maybe one too far. You should probably be able to feather it with second gear and just be very careful with your pedal. I've been able to use second gear or third gear for that just to retain some traction going into that corner if I'm struggling with it, especially if it's in a car I'm just struggling with my rear traction coming out of that corner. Looks like we have a faster lap from Kenneth Portis. He just set a 44.8. So our top 3 drivers are within 0.2 of each other up there. I can expect that we're going to see some very close racing between those guys today. So that should be really exciting. I'm really excited to see how that plays out. And it looks like Zhang just set our fastest lap. Shenkai Zhang in the Ferrari 448 Evo just set a 44.5, putting him into P1 with 30 seconds left in qualifying. Great lap from him. Let's see if Kevin Racine is going to respond. Looks like he is not going to be able to get out in time. Meanwhile, Kenneth Portis wants to try to respond there. Now 0.3 back from that pole sitter. And you can just see some of the gaps in terms of speed from some of our drivers. The next driver is a whole second behind our 3 fastest drivers here today. Not that that's a bad thing. We have different classes of drivers, different skills throughout our whole crew at Zealous. We're not a truly competitive league, although we do have points for these leagues. But most of this is just for merit, for experience, for fun, just to have something consistent for a consistent league for folks to join in and enjoy our love of racing. Qualifying session is currently done. Portis going to follow him until he finishes up his lap here, as he hopes to do one better. Since he hasn't quit the lap yet, I think he maybe can do a faster lap here. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll follow him in. Thank you all for joining us today. We are super close to our first race. As our drivers cross, let's see what Portis can get. Oh my goodness, he is so incredibly close. Only 1/100th of a second back from Kevin Racine in P2. He retains his position in P3, but that is incredibly close. Absolutely rapid lap from Portis there. Really great job trying to do one better there. as Matt Fender, our final driver, is crossing the finish line here, hoping to do another better lap. He does not. So our current running, our top 5 here, Shenkai Zhang with our fastest lap of a 44.5, Kevin Racine, Kenneth Portis, Matthias Tudda, and Matthew Reed. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this race. Now, like I mentioned, this is a 2-race night tonight, so you get double the race action. But one of the races is 20 minutes, a short sprint, and the other is a 40-minute race. Now, our drivers today will have to do a mandatory pit stop for fuel in both of these races. So for this first race, I can imagine most of it's going to be a sprint race to the finish, with a lot of drivers probably opting just to do a splash and dash because their tires aren't really going to be an issue here. But once we get into that second race, the 40-minute race, I could see some strategies come into play where our drivers decide to change their tires and maybe go for a little bit of a longer pit stop just so that they can really chew into their tires during the race portion and set some fast laps. So we're 1 minute out as our drivers hit the play button, hit the drive button. We got some love out there for Chris Rise. Call me Polka, always the biggest Chris Rise fan out there. Team Rise, Team Rise, Team Rise. We'll follow some of our drivers here. We'll actually probably just follow Matt and at the start of the race, but I'll give some love to all of our drivers here during the race. We'll take a look at everyone and see how they're doing. So we have 27 drivers today on the track for this first race Zealous has ever done on Watkins Glen. As I've mentioned, with this American track pack, I'm very disappointed that they didn't add Road America, which is my favorite U.S. track. But I can't always get what I want. It's not all about me. But I'm so glad that they brought this track into it. It's an iconic track. I think almost everyone knows about this track around the world, being a staple of the U.S. track circuit, U.S. circuits. And here we are. We are ready to start the race. Slim Friesen in P6 there. Come on, Slim, you couldn't break the top 5. A little disappointed in you there. Was hoping to give you a shout out. Let's go into a camera a bit further back. Let's actually go into our Helicam. The Helicam doesn't look too good. Let's go our camera set 2 here. As we start the race, our drivers lining up now on the front, on the start-finish straight. Oh my goodness, here we go. Race is about to go green. As they come down the start-finish straight, all of our drivers lined up. Green, green, green. We are a go as we start our 20-minute sprint race at Watkins Glen. Looks like Zhang getting early on the inside. A little bit of a crash there at the beginning between some of our drivers in the back. Oh, no, we got some wreckages right off the start. But our leaders are away. Kevin Racine holding off Kenneth Portis behind him as they go up the S's. Looks like the race will go on. Not enough drivers got collected by that first one. Kevin Racine trying to clear, to defend Portis there, but looks like Portis is going to squeeze him going into the bus stop. Kevin Racine just squeezing out ahead of KP in that straight, as Racine is holding off Portis, who's holding off Tudda just behind him. A lot of this battling too is going to let those drivers further in the back keep up with these drivers that are battling. Even though they're sitting faster qualifying laps, this is where these drivers can really make it shine. Zhang is really getting a good start here. Not much of the battling, got a good inside line going up into the back straight up the S's there. So he's really been able to pull away while the other drivers are battling it out. Portis looking on the inside, not going to be able to make that move though, I don't think. Now going into this section, they're going to have to probably keep it clean. Not a lot of lines to pick here. Tada still running in P4 there. Reed P5, Story 7 or 6, and Friesen lost a position there to Story P7. Looking at some of our other drivers here, let's take a look at maybe some of the people got picked up. Looks like Todd Cromer was one of them. Had a good qualifying, but looks to have been picked up from that starting race incident. Hickman as well was one of those drivers to get picked up by it. Looks like our timing board is a little bit messed up here. Candido was another one of the drivers, I believe, that was caught up in that. Looks like Mellon pitch as well. A lot of damage on the side of that car. As we watch our leader here going up into the bus stop. Let's watch some of our battles here. We got a three-way battle here between Bellinger, Santello, and you as they go into the bus stop. That's going to be a risky move. Pit window is now open. Oh, Bellinger had to cut the track there. Ooh, another wreck there behind from some of our drivers. Jimmy Olsen coming through. Camacho, they're going to have to let them all through. Pino was caught up by that as well. And we have another crash from a Bentley back there. Lemon Pitch is coming in here as well. He's going to have to keep it clean on the brakes. Our drivers getting a little bit wild out there. Need to make sure that they're clear. Looks like some carnage coming out of the bus stop. You got to go into that single file. Not going to come out well otherwise. 95 cars now now seeing some issues. The 95 of, let's see if I can find the 95 car of Kevin Yu is spun out into the toe of the track. It's another place where you have to be careful. Let's watch some of our racers here as we watch some battles up near the front of the race between Friesen, Story, and Fender. As Zhang sets our fastest lap of the race, Racine answering that with a new fastest lap. We have some of the drivers opting to go into their pit stop now since the pit window's open. Might as well. This is a good time to do that, especially if you have damage already. That might mean that you can maybe get some clear air on the track to gain back some positions. Ooh, a battle between Fender and Friesen here. Fender got on the inside of Friesen. Looks to have the run on him into the back straight. Friesen going on the inside. Not going to be able to make that move, though. Wasn't far enough ahead. Behind them, Rise is catching with all this battling going on. Rise running P9. I think that's an improvement on where he started. So he's going to be excited for that one. Taking a look at our track. We have quite a few drivers in the pits now. I wonder if any drivers are also going to maybe try to do a bit of an undercut, get some clear air from the battle in front of them. Shout out to all of our viewers in chat. Please give a shout out to your favorite driver. Got some shout outs for Cromer, got shout outs for Racine, Pino, and many more. So be sure to shout out your favorite driver, give him some love, give him a hard time too, who knows. Taking a look at some of our other races here. Story has been able to catch up to Reed in that Lamborghini. Come up to that penultimate corner. It looks like Racine is going into the pits, I can see. Yep. Oh, that's Story, I should say, going into the pits. Our lead drivers opting to stay out. Story in the pits, Candido in the pits, Pino in the pits, repairing some of the damage he got from some of those incidences. That gives Reed some clear air there to set some laps unobtrused. Yeah, Poca, that's a good point. Interesting seeing a pit stop, but for Zealous this season, we really wanted to mix up every single race. We wanted every single race to be unique, so we're actually going to be doing another double header night. But instead of it being a pit stop for fuel, that's going to be, I believe, a pit stop for tires, or there's going to be, actually, no, that one, there's no mandatory pit stops at all. So we have this race, which is our double header with the mandatory pit stop, and then we're going to have one without. Just to kind of switch it up, make sure that each week is going to be something different. Since we only have 4 race weeks this season, because we're only running 7 rounds, I should say, as we lead into our next season, which will start after Labor Day, most likely, I should say. We could be a little bit more creative and have, that gave us room to not have to repeat any of the races that we had. So let's take a look at some of our drivers here. Zhang already catching up to some back markers there. Looks like Kevin Racine is getting awfully close there and challenging Zhang here for that lead position. Taking a look a little bit further back, the second AMG on the track, Pedro A battling with Afonso. Some manufacturer battles there. Micah, that's a really good point. I do wish a lot of pubs would do pit stops. That's like, for me at least personally, pit stops are one of my favorite parts of racing. Really lead to a lot of strategy changes and can really help to mix up how a race goes. Looks like Pedro goes a little bit wide, giving Alfonso the inside line up the hill. That's going to lose him out that position there. So that's a little overtake from Alfonso. Great work from him. Justin Friesen now coming out of the pits. Story right behind him. Story was one of the drivers that he was fighting for at the beginning, and Story opted to do an earlier pit stop. Looks like Story did not get that great of a exit lap there. Got some love for Santello there. Let's find Santello, Michael Santello in the Ferrari. Currently running P9, but he hasn't made his pit stop yet. So we'll see where he ends up when that happens. We're reaching our halfway point as well in the pit window and the race. So our drivers are going to have to be going in here within the next 8 minutes. Looks like the front of the race needs some love. Wants some people to see how the front of the race is going. Zhang still holding out that lead. And Kevin Racine right behind looks to have lost a little bit of time the last lap. Note these guys do have to do a pit stop sometime here soon, so one of them is going to have to pit. We have a driver into the wall. We have Kevin Yu in the McLaren into the wall in the outer edge, outer circle there. The outer loop, I should say, sorry. Looks like Zhang's able to hold off Racine in the front straight. Racine seems to be losing a little bit of time to Zhang this lap. Portis not able to keep up. There was a lot of battling between Portis and Racine early in the race, but it seems like Portis has been kind of shaken off a little bit by these two front runners. Coming into halfway through the race. These drivers are getting awfully close to each other as we break down the hill and go up the hill into our final little sector here. A great shot of both of our drivers racing here, hoping to keep their traction as they come up there. Masterfully done, using all the space they have on that track. Zhang looks to be much faster in this portion of the track as well. Breaking down the start-finish straight. Racine seems to have had a pretty good lap there. Now only a half a second behind. And looking at our pit stops, looks like nobody has... there are still some drivers yet to take pits. Alfonso now currently in the pits with Matt Fender as well now opting to go into the pits for his splash and dash. See our front runners here are running into some traffic as they go into the bus stop chicane. Racine getting awfully close. Zhang feeling the pressure. Going along the outer loop. Racine seems to have had a much better run that lap. Really putting on the pressure as they go into the chute. That back runner behind them is going to have to give them space, I can imagine. There technically isn't a blue flag rule in Zealous, but that is common courtesy. Racine is getting awfully close as we go into the boot. Up the hill, Dudzik letting them pass that back runner. Racine looking on the outside, gets his nose out there. Zhang has to defend, has to give something there. Going down the hill, up the hill, braking as they go around the corner. So much closer this lap, only 0.2 behind is Racine. Racine setting the fastest laps of this race. Still able to set 44s. That's absolutely incredible. One more lap down for these drivers. They have 5 minutes left to make a pit stop. I'm a bit surprised that Racine isn't going for a pit stop yet. I would imagine that if Racine was just able to get some clear air here, he would be able to pull ahead of our leader, Shenkai Zhang. As they go up the S's, up the hill. Taking a look further back, seeing if there's any other battles that we can give some love to as well. Christopher Flores and Hickman racing right here as they finish up their lap. Oh, Wyatt getting awfully squirrely. Wonder if Wyatt's on a controller there. That was really awful. That pushes Hickman off the track. Not ideal. Kind of makes his line a little bit obsolete there. And Flores into the pits. Maybe a pit penalty there. Let's go back to our leaders. Looks like Kevin Racine is just hanging with. Looks like Reed has taken his pit stop. Santello taking his pit stop. Fender and Friesen have both taken theirs as well. Our top 6 have yet to do it though. That being said, Wolf and Baudry are quite a ways behind our front runners. As they go into this nice tricky section here, Bentley versus Ferrari. Penultimate corner, 3 minutes left. This is probably their last chance for a pit stop. Looks like Zhang holding close, not opting to go for his pit stop just yet. He's going to go up for another. Some of our other drivers taking a look. Alfonso in the pits seems to just be stuck there at the moment. Looking at some of our other battles, Hickman is feeling pressure from Fender behind. Hickman has yet to take a pit stop though, so that's really a battle for Fender. And Friesen coming in close. Hickman getting awfully close to Fender there as Fender makes that move, keeping it clean. Looks like Fender or Hickman there has quite a bit of damage on that BMW as he gets squirrely there. And Friesen going on the outside, has to give up that position, Hickman, and probably needs to make that pit stop here shortly. Shenkai Zhang has been able to pull about a second ahead of Racine at this point. Racine's had to hold back. I wonder if Racine's going in for his pit stop this lap, as we have Hickman and Wolf in the pits currently. With 5 minutes left in this race, and our battle for the lead still raging. We only have 2 minutes left in our pit window. That means these drivers are going to have to be coming in here shortly. These laps take about 1 minute 45 seconds on average for these drivers, and I don't think they're going to be able to get to the start-finish straight in time for them to make a pit stop. If they wait another lap, both of these drivers are going to have to go in this lap, or else they're going to be risking cutting it close. You know, I don't know. Yeah, and there's Zhang. He is going into the pits and breaks. Racine going in right behind him. That means Portis also is going to need to make a pit stop as well. And Tada, finally, the last of our 4 to make a pit stop. Flores gets a stop-go 30-second penalty there for speeding going into the pits. Let's take a look at some of the other battles we may have going on the track. Wyatt coming out of the pits there. Taking a look at Reed. Reed is our leader that's currently not in the pits. Doesn't really make him the leader, I understand that, but he is running ahead of Fender and Friesen there. Story seemed to have lost out a bit for his pit stop. Story was running ahead of Friesen there. Is no longer after his early pit stop. The race continues out front with, looks like Racine losing some time during that pit stop, now 2 seconds behind. As we go into our 9th lap of this race. 3 minutes left. Another stop-go penalty for Wyatt, one of our drivers in 23rd. Taking a look at our leaders here as we go into the last few minutes of this race. This is the battle for the lead. This is the battle to watch, as Racine's able to gain a little bit of time back. I still am wondering if Racine should have maybe decided to pit a little bit early to get some clear track. Maybe he was looking behind and didn't see the clear track, but you know, I'm not really sure. I can only imagine what he would be able to do if he would just get some clean air and get ahead of Zhang there. But that's not the play he made. Maybe he'll learn from that in the second race. Looks like these guys are going to be battling for most of that race as well. And I can imagine Racine's probably going to try to set fastest lap going into that race as well. So we'll see how that on plays. With this being a two race night, we have this 20-minute race and then the 40-minute race. And we have qualifying before each of them. So it's basically a clean slate in terms of qualifying. You get another chance to go out there and do the best you can. As they go up the hill, looks like Racine's losing a lot of time on that uphill portion. 1 minute 30 seconds left in this race as we watch our leaders. Thank you all for joining us tonight for the round 3 of the ZADs Galaxy Tour. Appreciate all your support. Be sure to share this with your friends. I really do appreciate it. Watching great battles like this between Zhang and Racine. This is the stuff we live for. Sim racers, great battles. Doesn't matter if you're in the lead. Doesn't matter if you're in 6th place. Battling with Friesen, Fender versus Friesen here. Another battle going on track as we have a little bit of a gap building between our two leaders. But that's what we live for. We live for good battles. And that's what we're getting here tonight at Watkins Glen. Fender holding off Friesen here. Only have about one more lap to make a move, though, as Zhang comes into that tricky left-hander. Going into the final sector here. The penultimate corner, that left-hander. With a following right, slight braking. As we go down the start-finish straight, this is going to be our last lap of the race with 8 seconds left on that timer. That means this next lap, that is going to be the end of our race number 1 tonight. We will have a short 4-minute break between where I'll give a little plug for our racing league and all that kind of jazz. But then we'll come back for our 40-minute race. As they come down the back straight, Zhang and Racine behind. Racine not able to make up much time this lap. And something of note to watch here, the battle between Friesen and Fender. Looks like Friesen had an issue on that last lap. Puts him behind Story now. So Story moves up into 7th place with Friesen moving back into 8th on the last lap of the race. Not gonna like to see that happen, especially on the last lap. Very unfortunate for Slim there. Still following our leaders now, again, as they go into the boot, leading into the heel. Zhang able to open up that gap quite a bit. Last few laps, Zhang's just been able to be a little bit more ahead, just a few hundredths of a second ahead of Racine for the last few laps. And here we go, last corner right here for Shenkai Zhang, a newcomer to Zealous Racing League, as Zhang wins our first race of the night. Our 20-minute sprint race winner is Shenkai Zhang in that Ferrari. Great race by him and Kevin Racine behind him. P2, Portis finishing in P3. Tada finishing P4. Behind him, Reed, Fender, and Story having a battle to the end. Fender and Story. Story not able to get it, though. Fender coming out in 6th. Reed 5th. Story 7th. Friesen in 8th. Bowdry in 9th. Chris Rise coming across the start-finish line here, weaving in excitement for a P10 finish. He's going to be excited for that one. He's happy with that, I can tell. Ricky Scott, P11. Great race by him. Todd Cromer in that that Porsche. Another excellent performance by one of our drivers. I bet he's incredibly happy with that, especially after having some damage on the first few laps of the race. Ending that race in P12, he is going to be so happy with that. Gaining back so many places. What an excellent race to start off the night tonight. So many great battles already, and we aren't even halfway through. That is amazing. Well, our podium today, as our drivers are finishing up the race, is locked in with Shenkai Zhang in P1, Kevin Racine in P2, and Kenneth Portis in P3. Looking back at some of our other drivers, you back here as they cross the start-finish line, Pino as well crossing, Dudzik and Camacho passing here. Dudzik finished 21, Camacho in 22. Got Candido coming in behind as well. In that Bentley, looks to be a little bit scuffed up, but he's still here in 23rd. Flores currently in the pits. I think our last driver that needs to cross the start-finish line. Looks like he stopped racing though, and it looks like we have a couple drivers that stopped racing. So we're going to have to figure out a way to wrap that up, and there we go. We wrap up right there. So congratulations to our winner, Zhang. We still have one more race, and Prime, great shout out. You caught me at just the right time. We've got a 4-minute break in between these two races, which gives me a chance to, one, thank you all for joining us for our ZADs Galaxy Tour tonight. If you're interested in following us or joining our community, please follow us on all of our social media on Facebook and Twitter. And if you're interested in joining the community, we have a link on our YouTube page for our Discord server as well. If you're interested in, or if you're new to sim racing, if you're interested in joining another league, be sure to give us a check out. You can talk to one of our admins. One of them being Wolf there, one of our racers tonight. So just feel free to come join the community, and if you have any questions, if you're new to sim racing, we welcome all types of sim racers. We're there to provide any help you might have and answer any questions you might have. Secondly, Prime has already mentioned it in the chat, but this weekend we have a incredibly special event that Zealous is helping co-host with two other North American-based sim racing leagues, Delta Racing League and Apollo Racing. ARC, Zealous, and DRL are going to be doing a 6-hour endurance event on this track, Watkins Glen, this Saturday. So if you are interested in joining that race, or if you're interested in watching, be sure to tune in on Saturday. And like I said, if you're interested in joining, be sure to sign up on the SimGrid. There should be a link to it at the SimGrid. If you just type in 6 hours at Watkins, you should see all of our banners up there. Be sure to join. It's going to be an excellent event. If it wasn't for some other circumstances in life, I would totally be racing in it myself. I hope to join in some of the other events because this is one of 3 endurance events that ARC, Zealous, and DRL are doing together. So first of them is going to be Watkins, 6 hours this weekend. So be sure to give it a check out. Be sure to join if you are interested. We'd love to have more racers. And like I mentioned, if you are interested in joining our community, be sure to like us on our social media and join our Discord. We're always happy to have new drivers. We're here to help. We're here to have fun. We're here to share our love of motorsports and racing. And we're here to just be a community for any type of racer. So, um, thank you guys for joining. That leaves us with a minute and 30 seconds left in our practice session in between our two races. This gives our drivers a little bit of a break to use the restroom and to just reset themselves after that first race, give them a little bit of a break, as well as giving me a little bit of a break. I'm going to set up a camera here, probably on our race winner for the last race. We'll go to Shanghai Zhang there. I'll set it up on him. I'm going to go get more water. I will be right back in just a moment. My goodness, that was a well-needed break. Big shout out to my wife for making cookies this week. I love cookies, as most people probably do. Um, and that was the greatest break I've ever had for having that cookie. So, shout out to my wife for making cookies and for water for helping me to be able to cast for an hour long. Uh, the first event I ever did for Zealous was the Mini ZAD Duro, a 2-hour event of nonstop casting. That was incredible. It was great. I loved every second of it, but my voice was shot at the end of that. Luckily, with these shorter season races being only an hour, 45 minutes, some of them even shorter like this, really makes it a lot easier for me. So I'm really grateful for that. We're back here with our second qualifying session for race 2. Something to note may have been some rain over the night. Our track is currently green, was greasy. So not a lot of grip out on the track for our drivers. and they're going to be doing their best to get that track up to optimum. Seems to be getting up to optimum fairly quickly. Track is rapidly changing. Like I mentioned, we do have a rain race mercy rule for Zealous Racing League, but we have not had a rain race yet this season, so it's totally possible that this next race could be a rain race, and I want to always mention that because I always want it to be a rain race. I love racing in the rain myself. I love watching racing in the rain. Really throws up the experience in the air. I think it provides a way more dynamic experience in terms of the race. So definitely would love to see some rain for the race today. As we watch our winner from the last race, Zhang, making his first lap here, making sure to. He is setting our some of our first fast laps here. Got a few drivers ahead that should be setting laps before him because he was not the first driver out, but doesn't appear that we have any laps out there just yet. And there's our first one, Tada with a 45.8. So a very respectful lap to start off. Portis going 45.4. And Zhang, 8/100ths of a second behind Portis there. Incredible. Portis is in the pits already, though. Seems to be something not quite right with his setup or something. So he's already back in the pits. No one able to set a faster lap just yet. Let's follow some of our drivers that we haven't been able to see as much. Let's take a look at Baudry, who is currently tentatively P5. Had a good first race. Going around the outer loop in that Aston Martin. I believe our only driver in the Aston Martin. Let's go take a look at Glenn Pino. Had a bit of an unfortunate incident during the first race. Got into a bit of an accident there. And didn't maybe have the finish he was hoping for, but hopefully this race he'll be able to bounce back from that and get a better finish. As we watch drivers coming in here, Tada just set our fastest lap of a 45, 0.15. Kevin Racine sneaks himself right in between Portis and Zhang. Zhang setting the fastest lap of a 44.6 just there. Kenneth Portis now coming in behind. Let's watch him as he sets his second fast lap here. We only have 3 minutes or so left in qualifying. See if Portis can do it. Doesn't set it any faster, but that was his out lap, I guess. Yep, that was his out lap. Racine now coming around that last turn here. As he goes across the start-finish line, half a second back from Zhang there. He's going to go again, probably still warming up those tires a bit. Let's give a bit of love out there for Fabiano Candido, who's currently in P6 with a 46.4. Still have some drivers yet to set laps. One of them being Friesen, Flores, Camacho, and Story. Candido getting a little wild there. goes into P5. Let's watch Wolf for a little bit, one of our ZRL admins. As he goes up the hill of the boot, down the hill of the boot, around the corner, in that great Zealous Racing League livery. Looks like he's got Portis right behind him too. Ooh, goes a little wide there. And he's going to just opt to omit that attempt. As Portis goes across the start-finish line, who is right behind him, and 8/10 behind Zhang. So close. These drivers in the front are so close to each other. Kevin Racine hoping to get a fastest lap, and there it is. With a minute 30 seconds left, Racine pulls himself into P1, a provisional pole, with a 44.2. Incredibly fast lap from Racine there. Don't know if anyone's going to be able to respond to that, but Zhang's sure going to try. Watch some of our drivers back here. Let's take a look at Sean Dudzik in the M4. His fastest lap currently a 49. Looks to have a few scuffs on that car, even in qualifying, from losing it. As Dudzik passes the start-finish line here, hoping to set a faster lap. Looks like it will not be faster. Hickman hoping to set an even faster lap than his last one. Another BMW driver. Looks like this lap's going much better so far. And that does put Hickman into P18. We've got 13 seconds left in qualifying. Let's follow the next guy to cross the line, which will be Friesen. He's going absolutely rapid, hoping to cross the line, maybe get one more lap. He will not get one more lap. This is it. And that puts him up into P7. That's a bit faster than the last one. Jumping himself from P10 to P7. Number 6 car behind him, Matt Fender, is not able to improve his time. So close, only by a 10th of a second. Let's go back to the 94 car of Zhang. Again, hoping to respond. He was able to set a faster lap last go-around, but it wasn't fast enough to take Racine off of pole. As we follow our last driver here across the start-finish line. It's an absolutely beautiful circuit here. A lot of flowing corners, up and downhill. Oh, getting a little squirrely, Zhang. Don't think that's going to make him go any faster. And it does not. Will not improve his time. 444 car of Bellinger with Portis right behind. They're the last two cars to finish up their laps. Oh, Bellinger hits the wall and right into the barriers. As Portis crosses, see if he can go faster. And he is able to go faster. Excellent work from Portis to go ahead of Zhang right on the last second there. Setting a lap 2/10 of a second behind Racine. So our starting order is thrown up a little bit here, with Racine now taking our pole position for the race. Portis in P2. Zhang in P3. So almost flipped around completely there between Racine and Portis and Zhang. Tada remains P4. Story is P5. Fender P6 and Friesen P7 with Candido Cromer Cormer, Scott, Reed, Pitch, Pino, Baudry, Olson, Bellinger, Rise, Hickman, Yu, and Camacho. Top 20. 21 is Alfonso, 22 Santello, 23 Flores, 24 Pedro A, 25 Wolf, and 26 Sean Dudzik. Thank you all again for joining us tonight for the race. This is our second race of the night. We got 40 minutes now instead of the 20-minute race before. It's a bit later at night, 7 p.m. for this race. As we have 30 seconds left on the session start clock for our drivers to push the drive button now. Getting their setups all set. Just like the last race, they are going to have one mandatory pit stop in this race for fuel. They may change tires if they so choose. I could see some drivers opting to go for fresh tires. It might be cutting it a little bit close. These tires can definitely last up to 40 minutes, but maybe the allure of having fresh tires is too great to pass up. We'll follow Scott in the middle of the pack here, or actually we'll follow Tada, just so we can get a good view of the pack for this race. Want to make sure to capture all the action that we possibly can. Let's even actually go into the helicam to start this race. Maybe not as far back as we would hope it to be. Want to maybe follow a little bit closer. There we go. That's what we'll watch. We'll just keep to the TV cam settings. As we go down the start-finish straight here, as we start our second race. It is green. Here we are. Second race, 40 minutes at Watkins Glen now. As our drivers go down the start-finish straight here, hoping to keep it clean on this first lap. Everything clean so far, different than the last time around. Battles in the lead between Portis, Racine, and Zhang. Almost 3 wide up to the S's. Story trying to get on the inside of Tada there. Not able to get it, but hoping to get a bit of a slipstream off of Tada as Friesen goes on the inside. Right behind Fender, trying to retain his position there behind defending Candido. Our drivers in a battle here for the lead, Portis and Racine. Portis was able to squeeze ahead of Racine in that last lap in that straight there. A great move by Portis. Now he's just got to defend. Racine close behind. Definitely has the pace to stay ahead, but is he going to be able to hold off Racine? Racine did seem to have some fast pace in that car, but did lose it in the latter stages of the race. 444 car of Bellinger's in the pits. Looks like he maybe had some damage, into the bus stop there. A lot of carnage at the bus stop during today's race. Another car, Afonso 999 car, also in the pits. The 411 car of Pitch seemed to have been caught up as well. As we go into the last little bit of the track here, Portis able to get that lead from Racine, with Racine right behind, followed by Zhang. Zhang goes wide there, gonna get a track limit warning. These three drivers are close behind each other, just trying to stick with. Portis holding off as they go up the hill. Racine and Zhang close behind. These are our 3 leaders right here, duking it out on these starting laps. Zhang tries to peek his nose up the inside there, up the hill. Not able to do it, but is able to get a bit of a run off of Bellinger, or off of, Racine. Racine having to be a bit defensive there gives Portis a chance to get a better line. Racine able to hold off into the bus stop chicane. Looks like some other drivers. Reed looks to have had an issue. Now running in P20. We have some other drivers already in the pits. We've got Santello, Pitch, Bellinger, and Alfonso already in the pits, presumably repairing damage. Looks like Zhang was shaken off slightly during that last little bit of racing there. That doesn't mean he is out completely, though. Might have had just a bit of an issue now trying to catch up. Portis is able to get a bit more ahead of Racine. Great battles there. We have some battles between Tada and Story even behind these guys as well. So multiple battles going on track right now. I'm seeing battles between Pino and Hickman, between Hickman and Bowdry. Just lots of racing. We have an incident in the back there with the 584 car of Story. Seems to have dragged back quite a ways. Seems to have had a shunt of some sort. See if any other drivers were caught up in that. Doesn't appear so that I can see so far. That moves Fender and Friesen into P4 and 5. That actually means Tada was in that as well. So Tada seems to have been moved back. Looks like he is in P16. So a little bit of carnage between our drivers here. A lot of battles going on. Close fighting. Racine cutting the corner there. I saw that. Racine, you can't hide that from me. Cutting his car, his Bentley, across the bus stop chicane there, but staying awfully close to Portis there. Going down into the chute. Racine really showing a lot of pace in that Bentley. I think Racine is going to need to pit a little bit earlier in this race than he did last time. I know it's easy to get caught up into these battles, but I think Racine with his pace, if he can just get us a section of clear track where he can really go all out, I think it's going to really pay off in the end and allow him to maybe gain that lead back. So this could be a pit stop to gain the lead here. We're not into our pit window yet though, so you're going to need to wait until that pit window opens to make sure that the pit stop is valid as your one pit stop. Oh, the 501 car of Hickman seems to have had a bit of an incident coming out of that turn. That slow uphill turn, I keep telling people you gotta be careful into that turn. It's incredibly deadly if you're not careful on the throttle. A car is almost completely unweighted, it seems like there, and your rear end is just so easy to slide out unless you have an incredibly disciplined throttle foot. Or if you shift up into third gear, you can gain a lot of that stability, but at the cost of a bit of time. Racine able to gain a lot of time into the bus stop there. Down the chute, Racine awfully close to Portis. Portis just holding off the best he can. Racine on the grass a little bit. Racine taking a wider line, hoping to go a little deeper into the braking zone. Get a little bit more power up the hill. Doesn't really work on that toe, though. And this battle up here is giving Zhang an opportunity to really come back as well. Zhang is awfully close to Racine, and Zhang's actually set the fastest lap of this race with a 45.3. Our track is substantially cooler than it was in our practice sessions in our last race, though, with 20 degrees Celsius out there on the track and in the air. Makes sense as we are coming into the evening hours. The track is cooling off as well as the air. Racine looking to get a lot better run there than Portis, and Zhang close behind down the start-finish straight, starting lap 4. Racine hoping to make a move here. on the straight against Portis, keeping wide, getting a lot of speed up the hill into the S's. Racine way faster than Portis, but Portis just blocking off everything Racine has, making that NSX as wide as he possibly can. Racine looking on the inside, doesn't make a move though, thinks better of it, into the bus stop. Racine making a much narrower line. Looks to have given him a slightly better run into the outer loop here. Portis just able to hold off with some defensive driving, and Zhang just hoping these guys battle, maybe get into an accident, so he can maybe just take an easy lead. You know, he's probably thinking a lot of things. You know, we don't hope to see an accident, but it's always possible. Always possible there'll be errors, an accident. He's just sticking with them the best he can. I know this is a great battle, but we really need to give some love to some of our other drivers on the track. Baudry and Rise currently battling for P12 as they go up the S's. Or I should say go to the toe. Another battle here is Friesen and Candido for P5. Candido staying really close to Friesen there. And Cromer currently running P7. That's a good race for Cromer. He's going to be happy with that. Some other battles that we have going on here. Christopher Flores with Sean Dudzik behind. Flores hoping to battle with Tutta there. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Tutta still P16 after that incident on, was it lap 2 or 3? The battle is too close to pass up here, though, at the front. Between Portis and Racine. Racine, again, kind of dipping his nose inside there, showing Portis that he's there, although I'm pretty sure Portis knows that Racine is there full well. Cutting the track awfully close is Racine there. Wonder if he's getting some track limit warnings. Racine goes wide, very wide, out of the outer loop there down the chute. Racine's going to have to watch out if he wants to stick with Portis here, lest he get a penalty for track limits. That one on the outside might have been just a warning. Oh, Racine poking his nose in there as we go up the boot. Great racing between these two here. Versus Racine and Portis. Taking a look as they race around this short little downhill section up the hill. Into that low traction zone. That NSX really able to get out of that corner much faster than the Bentley. But Racine able to hold in and hold on. Portis retains the lead. Racine 2/10 back. And Zhang probably enjoying the sight of this battle in front of him. Zhang still setting faster laps. His fastest lap currently is a 45.1. And now he is getting awfully close to Racine, who's going to have to think about defending himself, which gives Portis a golden opportunity to gain some time on Racine after all that pressure. Ooh, a big dive almost. Try to gain back some time. Racine getting incredibly close there. Much later into the braking zone than Portis, and Zhang really pulls himself away from Zhang there. Back into a 1/10 of a second to Portis. A lot of courage, a lot of bravery from that Bentley going into the bus stop chicane there. Absolutely incredible. Looks like Friesen was able to hold off Candido for the time being. Candido now a second back from Friesen. Still have some battles between Baudry, Pinot, and Rise. Pinot able to snag P11 from Baudry. And Rise hoping to make that move up into P12. Rise able to make that move, actually, if I'm watching correctly. Chris Rise currently now sitting P12. This is a best case scenario for Portis here, with the battling going on behind him. And Zhang, hoping to go into the braking zone a little later, isn't able to do it though. Pit window is open. Battle between Racine and Zhang. As Zhang goes up the hill, is on the inside. Better run. Zhang is ahead. But as we go up the hill, we'll see how it goes. They are neck and neck, side by side, going into the bus stop area here. Who is going to squeeze out ahead? Very close, almost touching Racine and Zhang. Racine getting a little bit wobbly on the back end. Zhang able to make the move. Excellent move from Zhang there to get ahead of Racine. That moves Zhang up into P2. Now hoping to battle with Portis. Fender running comfortably down there in P4. He's 5 seconds back from these front runners here. But I'm sure he's not too upset with that. Truly incredible battles between our leaders here. This battle between Zhang and Racine has also allowed KP to get a 1.5 second lead this lap between these drivers. He was only 0.4 back when the lap started, now gained almost a second. I can imagine though, now that this battle is, winded down just a little bit, they're going to try to keep up a little bit, try to gain that time back, as Friesen is now getting close to Fender to hopefully make a move for P4. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. Ooh, another thing to watch here. We have drivers coming into the pits. Something that I forgot to mention, that the pit window is open. Pino and Wolf currently in the pits now, serving their pit stops. Olsen and Yu have already served. Zhang is dropping Zhang is dropping Racine a bit here. Now Racine 0.6 back, maybe chewing up those tires a little bit. That's what I'm thinking as well, Nacho, for Racine to box. This is maybe his best chance. All of this pressure, I think, is really not making his race the race he wants. From what I can tell from Racine, and I've only watched him a little bit, when he's got those battles, he tends to not do as well with the pressure, which I can understand that. A lot of drivers do struggle with pressure from other drivers, from other racers, especially the people behind him. So maybe for him, the best bet right now is to just get out of this battle, pit, get the fuel, get the new tires, whatever it may be, and get back out on the track in some clean air. We're seeing a little squirrely coming out of the heel. Now Zhang able to make up a bit of time on Portis. Now only 1 second back instead of the 1.4 that was before. Still need to watch that battle between Friesen and Fender. Friesen is setting faster laps right now than Fender by about 0.2 of a second. Might be advantageous for him to make a pit stop sooner rather than later. Now only 0.2 back. Let's watch that battle here real quick between Fender and Friesen as they go up into the S's, onto the back straight. We'll go back to those leaders here soon, but let's take a look at some of our other drivers battling. Fender and Friesen battling it out here for P4. Kevin Racine with the fastest lap seems to have helped now that he maybe doesn't have the pressure of someone behind him, setting faster laps than ever before, but saying that it's only 0.02 of a second faster than Zhang's fastest lap. Going back to our leaders just to check in on them. Portis still able to retain the lead, with Zhang and Racine hoping to answer. One of them is going to have to buckle though and be defensive into one of these turns. Camacho and Hickman in the pits. We're 22 minutes in. We already have completed 9 laps of this race. Or this, I should say, is going to be completing the 10th lap. Racine wide. That'll give Portis a chance to maybe squeeze ahead here a little bit, because both Zhang and Racine went a little bit wide on that last turn there. Absolutely incredible racing from these guys here. Looking back further in the pack, Todd Cromer running P6 right now has got a battle behind him, Scott and Story. That's just giving him some breathing room. Jeremy Story and Ricky Scott battling out for P7. Simon Bowdry got a nice little gap here with that Aston Martin, giving him a chance to get some breathing room. Chris Rise going into the pits for his pit stop, currently running P10. Tuda made his way back up into P11 before that pit stop there. Friesen has just served his pit stop. Good move from Friesen there. Like to see that. Probably going to be a pretty advantageous move, I hope, for him. Now hopefully giving him a bit of an advantage on Fender. Giving him some clean air, allowing him to run hopefully some faster laps. Tuda is going to have to make his pit stop here, but he is coming back from an incident there with Reed. He was running P16, now in P9 after some other folks have made their pit stop. Olsen is running currently. Jimmy Olsen in the Audi is currently running P13, having already taken his pit stop as well. He's quite a ways back from Flores and Friesen there, but that should put him in a good position for some clean air to run the laps that he wants to run. We've got Dudzik in the pits, Rise in the pits. Rise currently coming out. Great battles here. These guys are sticking neck and neck with each other. Neither one of them has really been able to get a lead that they would have wanted to. Every time somebody gets ahead, they always are able to respond and get right back into a couple tenths. Racine going wide down into the chute, but these guys are so incredibly close to each other. Look at that. As they go down into the chute, they are probably only a tenth or two behind each other. Truly some incredible racing from these guys. Flores, Pedro, Scott in the pits. Santello and Reed are kind of the oddballs right now to not have pitted yet. I really think right now is the time for Racine to pit as well. I know this is a good battle on track, but I think what Racine needs right now more than ever is some clean air. He's going to want to make that sooner rather than later. And he's not going to make it here. 6 minutes left in the pit window as we're already past the halfway point of this race. Like I said, these guys are neck and neck with each other. Less than half a second of a gap goes between these three drivers, and every single time one gets ahead, the others respond and get closer. Really pushing these guys to run some fast laps. As we go into the bus stop, Zhang awfully close. Not able to respond though, wasn't able to get on the inside. Racine getting really close, running very narrowly into that bus stop chicane. Zhang really feeling the pressure now from Racine. That car is awfully close to his rear fender there. Can imagine this battle again would be good for Portis, just because just because that battle is going to take pressure off of him, going to cause them to slow down a little bit, but seem to have acquiesced just slightly. This is a truly incredible battle between these three drivers. Hard to take your eyes off it, but let's take a look at some of our other drivers. Tuda, who has yet to take his pit stop, is back up into P8, but he, like I said, is going to have to take that pit stop eventually. I'm going to put him further back. Anthony Camacho, currently running P12 with his pit stop. Pedro, running P13. Matthew Reed, now in the pits. After that little scuff with Tuda. Flores in 15. Hickman in 16. Chris Rise running P17 after just taking his pit stop. Let's take a look at our leaders here as they go up the hill. Looks like nobody's going to be able to respond here, so we'll keep on going through all of our drivers to get them a little bit of air time. Santello in the Ferrari going on the last turn here, running P18. Calvin Wolf struggling today on this circuit in that McLaren 720S, running in P19. Sean Dudzik, P20. Glenn Pino in that Mercedes AMG, running in P21. I know he got into a little scuffle earlier as well, but he's setting some very nice laps of 146.2s. In the 146s, that really does put him ahead of a lot of the drivers in front of him in terms of pace. So he's going to hope to make up a few positions there. Let's go back to our leaders. A issue there for the 444 car of Bellinger had a bit of an issue going straight into the pits. Penultimate corner for Kenneth Portis here, still holding the lead after lap 1. Zhang going on the inside line and is going to take his pit stop. Our two front runners are going to take their pit stop. That leaves Kevin Racine some time. I don't think that's going to give him enough time. I think Racine maybe made a crucial error here, although that does give him some free air he was hoping for. I think Racine should have pit a little bit earlier. That would have given him more free air for more laps if these drivers decided to go a little bit longer. So Racine and Zhang currently in the pits. Fender in the pits as well. Let's watch Friesen here as he is currently P8, but he's already taken his pit stop, while Fender and some other folks have not, or are currently taking it. I think this will put him ahead of Tuda, Boudry, and Fender as they go down the pit lane here. As we watch Friesen see where he's going to come out. Number 6 car of Fender's already out on the track, but he's going to be awfully close. Sadly, I don't think that pit stop strategy worked out for Friesen there. I bet he was hoping to gain a little bit more time. Boudry is also out in front, it looks like, as well, but I don't think that's right. There's just a little bit of an error within the system. That puts Racine in the lead, but he's going to have to pit this lap. He's not going to have time next lap to make a pit stop. So in order to get that that mandatory pit stop served, he's going to have to go now. Zhang seems to have lost some time there. Maybe he put on tires. I'm thinking Zhang maybe accidentally put on tires there. Or maybe that's what he planned on doing all along, but I don't think he was running fast enough laps to warrant tires going on at that point. Zhang now down into P7 after racing with those leaders for the whole race. And Portis now coming down the start-finish straight. This is going to be really interesting, and indeed does put Portis ahead of Racine. Not only that, puts him way ahead of Racine here. So that really throws our race up there, and maybe was a crucial error for some of our drivers, especially for Racine and Zhang there, who were having a good thing running up there in the lead, have seemed to have almost given the lead away to Portis. I mean, if anything, they really should have all pit together. That would have at least maybe shown that they would have, you know, all sticked together, but that does not seem to be the case. Racine is now down into P3. Fender has been able to take P2 from him. That's how far back he is gone. 15 seconds. I wonder if he had a lot more fuel to put in that car. It's entirely possible he only wanted to put about half of his race fuel in the car, whereas Portis and Zhang maybe opted to keep their car mostly full and just do a splash and dash. But Zhang still looks to have done a pit stop. I mean, a pit for tires, I should say. Well, that is a bit disappointing for our race here at the lead. But we can still watch a little bit of a battle here between Fender and Racine. If Fender can hold off here, this will be his best performance. Look at the size difference between that Bentley and that Audi. Bentley is absolutely chonky and thick. But this does give us a very great opportunity to watch some of our other drivers. The 49 car seems to have had an issue there. Jimmy Olsen currently yellow flagged in the tow. And goes back to the pits. That'll move everyone else up there. Fender really able to hold off Racine here quite admirably. We'll come back to this little race here soon, which really leaves Portis just out there hanging in the lead. Zhang is running the fastest laps out there, 1:44.6. But I don't think he has enough time with only 10 minutes left in this race to make up the spaces, the place, make up that time to get back and fighting with those leaders. Let's take a look at some of our drivers here. Bellinger running P24 in that McLaren with our leader or with some of our leaders right ahead. Number 18 car of Dudzik with a bit of a shunt there into the bus stop. Santello having an issue out of the bus stop there, but continues on moving. Pitch, who I know had some issues earlier in the race, currently running P23 in that Nissan Nismo. Glenn Pino is in P18 currently, running some pretty great laps. 46s, in the 46s. Great job for Glenn there. I think this will be a great performance for him. Calvin Rolfe running in P17 currently. Reed has made his way back up into 16. Hickman, with a bit of damage on that BMW, is running P15, holding out. Chris Rise is running P14 in the Audi. And right behind our leader, Flores, who's having a really great race, is currently P13. Looks to have had a pit stop strategy work out for him today and was able to stay out of trouble. This is going to be a great performance from Flores if he can hold everything here. Same with Pedro. I think he had some issues last race as well. But currently running P12. That's going to be a great performance for him. Looking at some of our battles, we've got Tada, who is closing in on Scott. Tada was running close to the front earlier in the race, And with a few scuffs on that Audi, is made his way back from running in the top top 5, making his way back hopefully to P6 here shortly after maybe a little battle with Scott here. Take a moment to watch a little battle going on. Looking at our battle for P2, looks like Zhang just moved his way into P5, and Racine is still trying to get past Fender for P2. Fender hoping to hold off. Hickman seems to have had a bit of an issue there. Back into the pits. Some excellent battles going on tonight. Great battle for the first half of this race. As we go into 6 minutes, 30 seconds left. With 6 minutes left, that gives us maybe about 5 laps left in this race or so. 5 or 6, 4, 5, 6-ish. I'm trying to do my math on the fly here. Racine makes it ahead of Fender for P2. Still too far back, I think, though. With only a few laps left, I don't think he's going to have the pace to be able to keep up with Portis there way in the front. And Zhang, similar thing there. Although he is incredibly close to making a move for P4 against Friesen, he's still 4 seconds back with not too many laps left in this race. He's going to have to make up multiple laps or multiple seconds to get up into a podium position. Friesen now going up into our battle for P3. Friesen close behind Fender here after Fender was overtaken. And if you look behind Friesen there, as we go up the hill, we may just get a glimpse of Zhang coming close behind. And there's Zhang coming up the hill as well. Gained a half a second in that last speed trap, that last split detection area. Friesen's going to want to make a move here soon against Fender if he's going to make a move at all. Otherwise, that pressure from Zhang is going to slow down his laps. Tada, once again, getting closer to Scott. Seeing if he can make that move. 2/10 behind. Watching the timing sheets. Friesen up the hill. Half a second back. And another thing to note, Zhang has been able to gain back almost 2 seconds already this lap. So Zhang is setting absolutely rapid laps on those new tires, it seems. Wasn't sure that strategy would really pay off, but from the laps he's running, it seems to be working just fine. Again, I don't know if he's going to be able to make a play for a podium position at this point, but he easily could, with Friesen and Fender being so close to each other. And even with that, he might be able to make up some time on Racine as well. So a podium position still in the works for Zhang. He could still make it happen as they go up to the S's. Letting everyone pass there, excuse me. Zhang now only 8/10 back from these drivers here, and Friesen pulling back a bit on that last little sector there. Friesen's going to want to make a move. Maybe what Friesen could do is use Zhang as maybe a bouncing point to get ahead of Fender. Maybe to do a double move, who knows? Could be done, seen it done before here. Even this season, double moves, so Maybe these two can do a little bit of working together, these two Ferraris, these two manufacturer brothers. As Zhang getting so much speed up that hill on Friesen. Able to make the move on the inside. Friesen not going to put up much of a fight. He knows Zhang's got more pace than him and doesn't really want to fight it. Plus a P5 performance from Friesen today, while, you know, I hope he can do better, is going to be pretty good. It's going to be a very good performance for Friesen. The number 30 car of Santello issuing the bus stop. And Racine running P2, but isn't able to make anything happen as Zhang goes on the inside. Oh, getting awfully close there. Zhang getting very, very aggressive on the inside, but Fender is back, going side by side up the hill and gets the position back. Great move by Fender to hold off Zhang. After Zhang had him on the inside on the start-finish straight, Fender able to play him and keep the lead, keep that last podium position. Great driving from Fender. Even if Fender isn't able to retain this P3 position, I would easily give him driver of the day for that little move alone. That was absolutely incredible. As they go up into the toe. This is going to be another part that Zhang's going to want to maybe make a move on, but looks like Fender was able to cut him off a bit there. Cut him off mid-corner, which gives him a bit of breathing room from Zhang, but Zhang's going to be coming back here shortly. Excellent battles between these two, and Friesen just kind of holding on behind, doesn't want to get too involved if an issue could happen. Zhang getting awfully close to Fender into the final turn. And Zhang getting a much better run, has that inside line again. Down the start-finish straight, Fender still squeezing ahead. Not going to defend too hard there. Making Zhang give him the space, demanding the respect. Fender gets a little wily on the on that exit there, which gives Zhang the ultimate opportunity to get ahead, and he does. Up this back straight here, I should say. Fender peeking on the inside. No, he's not going to be able to make that one. This gives Friesen an excellent opportunity to maybe make a battle for himself as well. Zhang now running P3 after running P2 most of this race. Now trying to make up for lost time as we're in our last lap of the race. Time flies when there's battles on track. But you know who hasn't had a battle for the latter half of this race? It's our leader and going to be winner of this race. It's Kenneth Portis. You've seen it before, and you'll see it again tonight as Kenneth Portis comes home to take our 40-minute race tonight as he goes on the start-finish straight. After an excellent move at the start of the race to get P1, Kenneth Portis wins our second race tonight. Excellent moves, excellent defending from KP. That is a race well earned. Can't really give him such a hard time for that, with Kevin Racine getting another P2 performance in this race in that Bentley. Zhang, P3, Fender, P4, Friesen, P5. Great battles from them all the way to the end. Flores and Rise lock down P13, 14, as Story and Boudry take 6 and 7. Scott and Tada are coming across here soon. Tada coming back from that issue early in the race. Coming to get a respectable P8 and 9. Cormer in that Porsche. Great performance rounds out our top 10. Well, I gotta say, I think this maybe was the best racing we have seen to date in the Zealous Racing League series, at least the ones that I have casted, especially those battles up at the lead. Absolutely incredible racing from all of our performers tonight. Pitch having a little bit of an issue there. Looks like the race is finished for him, so he's just spinning out, having a little bit of fun. Santello and Pedro seem to be our last drivers to cross the finish line here. And that is it. Our final order, like I mentioned, Kenneth Portis. Our final podium is Kenneth Portis in the lead um, with the win. Kevin Racine in P2 and Shenkai Zhang in P3. What an excellent race we've had tonight. What an excellent two races we've had. Some amazing battles between our three podium setters today, especially in this second race. All of them should be commended for that excellent performance and excellent class. This is why we do it, guys. This is why we do it, for these excellent battles, these excellent races, and being able to be on these excellent tracks. I can't emphasize enough how amazing this track is. Led to some great battles today. Congratulations to Kenneth Portis, our winner, and to Kevin Racine and to Shenkai Zhang for their rounding out the podium finishes. So that wraps up our race day today. Two races, been a long night, but it's been a fun one. Um, Next week, I believe we are going to be having a off week, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look at our schedule. I spoke correctly. Next week we do have a off week in our schedule to give everyone a bit of a break in the middle of the season. But after that week, on the 9th of August, we will be coming back for round 4 at Misano. So we'll have Misano, then the Indy Road Course after that, Kailami, and finishing off with Circuit of the America with Coda, our last lap of the race. Last lap of the season, I should say. Um, for all of you tuning in and still tuning in, I want to just thank you all for joining us tonight for this race. It's been an excellent race to witness, an excellent one to watch. Great work from all of our drivers, and especially great work from KP and our last race winner, and to Shenkai Zhang for our first race winner. Um, like I have mentioned before, if you're interested in joining our community, please give us a like on Facebook and Twitter. Links in on our YouTube homepage. And if you're interested in joining our community at Zealous Racing League, be sure to join our Discord and come and say hi, get to know us a little bit, and maybe if you're interested in joining a league in the future, all of the information regarding upcoming leagues will be posted there. Even if you're a new sim racer and you just want to learn more about racing and how to get faster, our community is always there to help. We have a great community of people ready to help when needed. Another shout out for the event that's also happening this weekend on Saturday. If you go to the Sim Grid and look up the 6 hours of Watkins Glen, it is a joint event between Apollo Racing, Zealous Racing, and Delta Racing leagues. Um, that is going to be happening this Saturday. Um, and 6 hour endurance race. Going to be incredibly fun. We're all kind of coming together for this. It's starting at noon. Let's say noon Central Time, I think it is. Noon Central Time. Qualifying starts at 10 o'clock Pacific Time. So if you're interested in joining, we still have plenty of spots open. We have currently 25 cars on the grid for the GT3 class, but we have 50 slots open. So we have plenty of space for the 6 hour endurance race this Saturday. So if you're interested, if you're looking for an endurance race to hop in at and race at Watkins Glen for 6 hours, be sure to come on by and join us. Even if you want to watch, please come on by and join us as well. So, well, everyone, that has been Round 3 of Zealous Racing League Season 8 of the ZADs Galaxy Tour. My name is Shim. I've been your caster tonight. I want to thank all the admins of Zealous for putting this on and for all of our racers for coming out tonight. Thank you, all of you viewers at home, for tuning in and showing your support for all your favorite racers. And be sure to tune in this weekend for the endurance race and also in 2 weeks for our race at Misano. Again, I've been Shim. It's been a wonderful night of racing, and I will talk to you all next time. Have a great night, everyone, and see you later.